Further proof that Brett Favre makes a big impression wherever he goes. He was voted team captain by his new teammates in New York. This coming just days before he and the Jets head to Miami for the NFL regular season opener. Yes, folks, it is that time again. Strap yourself in your seats because time for you to come into my world, the world of prep mania. Seems chaotic at first, but the veterans know out there it is pure heaven for the high school football fan. Last week, it was the Badger legs that got credit for the win over Akron. This week, give that credit to their arm, Allen Everidge's arm. From Camp Randall, I'm George Johnson. Let's throw it back to our News 3 studio. When you think about Dave, this is a guy who knows injuries. Think about last year. He had the hamstring injury, the lacerated hand after somebody stepped on top of it. He had the vertigo, and even the knee injury that forced him to miss a lot of games he only played in 82 a season ago. So now we fast forward to this season, and one would assume that David doesn't want to miss a whole lot of time on the field, but he's been told by the club that he has a bruised hand. At least that's what they're telling him now. According to Segui, they told him something else a couple of days ago. Mike, I would ask you what you're going to do on your birthday, but I know you're in the boogie down, so Lord knows. I don't think you can say that on TV.
Cut some rugs.
Have a good one.
Yeah, I'm going to go shopping for you and Carol. How's that?
There you go, my man.
I can do that all night long.
There you go, my man.
Again.
All kind of dough in his pockets, right?
Yeah.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Channel 3's George Johnson joins us, and you tell me it's not all about money.
Yeah, maybe. But it's also about something else. You see, Michael Vick's going to be tugged at when it comes to the future by the league, by agents, by sponsors, and yet there's a group of folks out there that no matter when they come calling, I got a feeling they'll get his full attention. This is a story about love. Love from one's family, love from one's associates, love from all those who have come in contact with Michael Vick.
Go to the mall, kick back the shoes, and then when it was time to get on the track, it was time to just kick up some dust.
These Olympic Games featured some of the finest talent the United States has to offer in international play. They won 101 total team medals, 36 more than their closest competitor. And shining the brightest may have been the women, who came home with golds in team gymnastics, basketball, softball, and synchronized swimming.
Over 20 years ago.
And now, George Johnson from the News 3 Sports Center.
Folks, we're going to start things off with the afternoon tilt at Miller Park, where the Brewers were hoping to avoid being swept in their own digs. But the Mets from New York come in on a first-place team and looking to make a statement just in case these two are to somehow meet in the playoffs. On the mound for the Crew today, Dave Bush, looking for his 10th win of the season. But the Mets weren't having it, and it didn't take them long to get to Bushy. In the first, bases loaded for Ryan Church, and he takes Bush. Okay, that was too easy. To Church. The grand slam made it 4-0. Oh, you ready to start praying. Next batter is Brian Schneider, and he also goes yard, making it 5-0 New York. Ned Yost obviously saying, listen, folks, we're going to need some offense to get back in this thing. But they would not have much. Bill Hall goes down looking in the bottom of the second. In the next inning, all-star Ryan Braun also ends watching. The only bright spot of the day for the Brewers offensively, J.J. Hardy. His 21st home run, a solo shot in the bottom of the seventh. That made it 6-2. The Brewers, though, swept at home by the Metropolitans 8-2.
We made a couple of bad pitches with guys on base. It was kind of a simple situation. It was critical, and then I just didn't make the pitches I needed to make. It was a game we kind of needed to win, so disappointing that it put us in the hole like that early.
Dave Bush taking the loss today against the New York Mets. Next Monday night, the Packers open the season. They'll have the gaudy task of trying to stop Vikings running back Adrian Peterson, one of the best in the business. Good thing one of their best run stoppers is back on the field. Defensive tackle Ryan Pickett back at practice this week after missing the whole preseason with a hamstring injury. The big man has been through multiple tests, and last weekend passed them, and so he's set to go. Pickett admits he's a biscuit or two over 330. Just a biscuit, though, but says he's lighter than he was a year ago at this time.
The feedback after yesterday's practice was very positive. So I mean, he'll definitely be in there on, you know, on first and second down, and we'll see how much more he can handle.
I'm a little sore. It's like, you know, this is my first time having contact since January, so Besides that, so I feel great conditioning-wise. I've been doing a lot of conditioning while they've been practicing, so condition pretty good. But, you know, I'm not yet in football shape, but I'm pretty close.
What kind of conditioning was that? Okay, last week, make no mistake, the Badgers beat Akron thanks to a punishing rushing attack that amassed over 400 yards on the ground. But it did little help in showing us how good that new quarterback's going to be. Alan Everett, the transfer from Kansas State, made his Badger debut this weekend, and in the end, very satisfied with the fact that his team came away with a victory. Although he ran the offense efficiently, he completed 70% of his passes, but he only threw 10 of them, and one of them cost the team 6 points when he was intercepted at the goal line late in the first. But his top back had his back.
You know, he made some good decisions. You know, he did have an interception, but you know, he had to just shake that off and just put that behind him. But I think, you know, throughout practice, when I'm watching him practice, he looks like, you know, he's going to handle the role pretty well and he's going to help us win these games.
We do a lot of things well, but film right now is a day that you need to really hone in and be nitpicky on all the different things that happened that didn't happen the way you wanted them to. So that's how you grow. That's how you get better.
Alan Everett, of course, one of the guys who's obviously going to be key for this team down the road. Also coming up tonight on the update, we'll hear about the debut of a local boy who it didn't take long to impress the Badger coaching staff. Brady Ewing from Richland Center in the house and getting it. Look at him carry the ball right there. He comes your way tonight.
As long as Everett can just keep doing this, he'll be fine.
It's very easy to do that.
George,
thanks, all right, George. Guys. Well, let me tell you something. They're going to have their hands full because they're going to be taking on an Arkansas Razorback club that loves to run the football. In fact, that duo of Darren McFadden and Felix Jones, the second most productive combination in the country. Now, obviously, the headliner is Mr. McFadden, number 5. This guy right here comes in. He is the Doak Walker winner as the best running back in all of college football. But Jones, his teammate, had over 1,000 yards rushing as well. The Badgers defense will have their hands full.
It's really a whole team effort. I mean, everyone really has to play hard. They like to get on the edge, and you know, it comes, you know, from the D-line all the way to the corners, setting the edge and not letting them break any big runs.
We're going to try to stop it, not necessarily shut it down. So they're going to get their plays, they're going to get their yards, but just to keep them out of the end zone, keep them out of field goal range, that's more our goal.
As for passing the ball, the Razorbacks don't do that too much, but if they decide to throw the football, they're going to have some problems trying to deal with that Badger defensive secondary featuring that dynamic duo at safety.
If the ball go in the air like 98% of the time or 99.9% of the time, I probably won't even look back, you know, because like we already know what's going to happen, you know. I mean, they're ball hawks.
It's an attitude that comes with having 2 experienced veterans as the last line of defense. Roderick Rogers and Joe Stellmacher have become fixtures in the secondary.
We've been in the program a long time. Each had to wait our turn to get in the starting lineup. But the last 2 years we've been out there together, developed a pretty good bond together. We're roommates on the road, so we got a good friendship.
Stellmacher, the Berlin native, is the strong safety, third on the team in tackles. Has left an impression on the conference.
Interesting, I was at an event yesterday where all 4 teams were, and I had a chance to come up and I was talking with the Purdue coaches. And Stelly walked by in his jersey, you know, and they're like, that's 16? I'm like, yeah, that's 16. And they were commenting on how great a player he has been over the years at Wisconsin. And I think that's a true indication of you know, how that special that player is.
Roderick Rogers, selected second team All-Big Ten, is the co-team MVP. He is one of the top pass defenders in the conference and likes to let folks know about it.
He's got a little swagger to him. He likes to talk a little bit more than I do. Real athletic. He's got great range back there. I think we complement each other very well.
When it comes to one-on-one, they're not going to miss that many times. So if you get beat, rarely, hopefully, but they're always there to cover your butt.
Me and Rob back there haven't started the last couple of years. I mean, we've pretty much seen everything. We can make all the checks that we need to make, so that's definitely a huge advantage for us.
And Alana, keep this in mind, the Badgers #2 in the nation in passing yards allowed. In fact, they allowed just 6 touchdowns all season long. The only school with a better number than that, Virginia Tech, who allowed 5 this season. Throw in Jack Ikegwonu and Alan Langford, and you got a secondary, one of the best in the country. So Arkansas going to have problems throwing against UW come Monday. That's how things look here in Orlando. Let's send it back to you. Last year, Tomahawk High School senior Alyssa Lampy made a historic run, becoming Wisconsin's first high school girl to qualify and reach the state wrestling final.
Just achieving great things, like I think a lot of girls look up to her.
Let's go, a couple more times apiece, let's get it right.
The number of high school girls who wrestle increases year in and year out.
Ready?
99-2000 was my first year back in Middleton as coaching, and at that time we had just one single girl that came out and wrestled, and it turned into 2 or 3 shortly thereafter, and we're up to 5 this year on our wrestling team, and it's been a growing trend to see more and more girls on wrestling teams both locally and throughout the state.
Follow, follow, follow! And that is reflected nationwide. According to the 2005-2006 numbers released by the National Federation of State High School Associations, girls participating in wrestling had increased in number nearly 15% from the previous year. The WIAA, the governing body of the Wisconsin high school athletics, is faced with the fact that less than 2% of all high school wrestlers in the country are girls, leaving little options.
We still find that there are not an equal number of opportunities for girls. So it is our position, and it's documented by case law throughout the nation, that if there is not a comparable girls team available within a school district where that student is enrolled, she is entitled to participate and try out for the boys team.
So I think some are in it to prove it to themselves that they can do this, that they can push themselves through one of the toughest sports out there.
Here you are 9 years, you were a gymnast. There had to be something about this sport, something that made you turn your back on something that you've been doing for a long time.
I think gymnastics was too graceful for me. So, I don't know, I wanted something a little bit harder and a little more intense. My mom was definitely a little scared. She was, oh, you're gonna get hurt. But she let me go for it, and my dad let me. She just kind of learned to deal with it, I guess.
For young ladies like Barry and Romero, you would think convincing the parents would be the easy part, considering they're constantly defending themselves against boys, who at times can be abusive. That's not necessarily the case.
I've seen it a couple times and stuff, but you know, it's people like that we need to get off the mats. I don't think it's the girls that we need to get off the mat. It's people who go out there and try to intentionally hurt them or whatever.
Is it almost a no-win situation as you see it?
Well, it's really tough. Just going out on the mat, the girls almost have a mental edge right off the bat going into the match. So, you're going out, you're at a disadvantage right away, and you just kind of, block it all out.
Some of the guys on our team are just like, oh, I hate wrestling girls. You can never pin them. And I think that's hard for them.
Currently, only Hawaii and Texas offer sanctioned tournaments where girls wrestle only girls. And you would think that's the ultimate goal.
Scoot your knees forward, head up, scoot your knees forward.
I'm sort of torn on that issue because, it would mean that they're wrestling someone with their own, strength and everything, but wrestling here, they're keeping up just as fine against people who are maybe better than them.
Last year I went to the girls' national tournament for the first time, which was just really cool to see all these girls all over the states. And yeah, I think it'd be cool to have that.
I look forward to it every year.
Bo with Mike Lucas, of course, from our Sideline show, putting that book together. You know what, I look at that hill every time I drive by, and I just keep
We are
driving
not the
way.
rabbits, that's for sure. Thanks a lot, George. A final check of the forecast coming up.